What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be spotlighting Screamtail. This is a Pokemon that I've wanted to do for a very long time, but I was just kind of waiting for it until the format seemed to fit the play for Screamtail, and I think now is the perfect time to do it. I've seen some top cut results from certain regionals and some online tournaments, and I looked at some of those sets and some of those results, and I figured, you know what? I think it's time that we spotlight this thing. So what does Screamtail do for you? First of all, let's take a look at its stats. You can see that it's very fast and very bulky. 115 HP, that's very, very good. And 111 speed, also very, very good. And then at the same time, look at that speed F, 115. And then the defense, just 1 point off of triple digits also, so 99 defense. This is as bulky as it gets. So now where is the problem with Screamtail? Why isn't people using this more? Well, look at the damage. 65 attack and only 65 special attack. So this thing is not really going to be doing damage. It's really just there meant to either, soak up hits and be fast and go for like support moves, right? And that's generally what its role is supposed to be anyway. So you don't really need to invest into its attack. Just use it what it's meant to do. Be bulky, be annoying, sit on the field, support your allies, and then let the allies do the damage, right? Your job is to support. That is Screamtail's role. It's just that people want more offense, because pretty much all the other Paradox Pokemon can do a bunch of damage, but this is one of the few. I think it's like the only one that doesn't really do any damage at all, okay? But we can make it do damage, and there is a way, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second, but let's take a look at its support moves because it's got a lot, okay? And from here, you can, right, so he's got a couple setup moves with Bulk Up and Calm Mind, but I don't think those moves are necessary. It does get Dazzling Gleam Stab, so there's that much, but again, it's not really meant to do much, but you do need at least one attack, so if you do need a special fairy move, here it is, Dazzling Gleam. Here's the first move that I want to look at. Disable is actually really good. It's on a lot of Screamtail sets. Basically, you're disabling the most recent or last move that the target used, so if there has been like some, key move that has been like swiping your team, then you can just click disable, and then all of a sudden they can't use it anymore. Then they might have to switch it out and then potentially rotate it back in, but then that forces repositioning, right, which is really good for you. Right, so disable is really nice. It also gets Encore, right? So again, against Trick Room stuff, you're able to do that, or some protects, you can pin it down. So just another way to support. You also get like fake tiers, so if you're next to a special attacker, right, you can use this, and then your special attacker can do a lot of damage. And Screamtail is very fast, right? So if you have a fast fake tears and a slower but bulkier special attacker, then this is the move for you. Then as we keep going down this list, you can see Helping Hand. That's another support move, of course. Just a little bit more damage. Then you get the screen stuff, right? You also get Light Screen and Reflect, I believe. So here's Light Screen. Here's Reflect. Yep, see a bunch of moves that he gets. And then from there, I saw Perish Song. So if you want to play this with like Gothitelle, Amoonguss, Ting-Lu stuff, you can definitely do that with Perish Song. This way you don't have to rely on like Fluttermane, Gothitelle to do that. You can use the Screamtail, which is much more bulkier, much more preferred in that sense. So you can definitely consider that. What else do you get? Oh, this thing gets Stealth Rounds. Okay, that's interesting. Does get sub. I don't think that's needed. Thunder Wave is another one, right? So speed control there if you wish to go for it. Man, this thing gets so much, right? It also gets Wish, Trick. Okay, these are interesting moves. Then if you keep going down, oh, this thing gets Howl. This is probably my favorite one, right? So Howl, where you can raise your attack and also your partner's attack. So think of all the big hitters right now, like a Palafin, a Dragonite, a Garchomp, or Chien-Pao. You couple Howl with like, Sword of Ruin, and now all of a sudden your physical attackers are just doing so much damage, right? And then if this is on a team with, let's say like Ting-Lu, now all of a sudden Ting-Lu is just doing a bunch of damage, right? And what's really good about Screamtail is you're faster than Arcanine, so you have a much faster Howl than that thing, which can be pretty good in certain scenarios, right? So Howl's really nice. I think it gets a couple more moves here that I want to look at here. Noble Rolls are interesting, but I don't think that's really worth it. Does get Rock Tomb for, again, speed control there. I don't think Scary Face is another one. You might argue Scary Face over Thunder Wave, but that really all depends on you. Trick Room is also another one that you get. So, and again, if you're on a team with like Amoonguss and maybe like a King Gambit, for example, then all of a sudden the Trick Room is now enabling those because they like the Trick Room support. And then if you have Howl next to them, right, then all of a sudden you're making them deal big damage, right? Iron Hands, for example, King Gambit, these are all things that really like the benefit of Howl. Okay, so yeah, we just listed like 10 different support moves. It really all depends on the set that you want Screamtail to do, right? It's not like 10 move syndrome where you want all 10. You really just want, you still want like 4 over here, but I feel like there's some of them you might need to squeeze in. But other than that, it really just depends on what you want the Screamtail to do. But it has a lot of, utility in just the options that you have. All right, so then you might just consider, well, look, you're a psychic type, aren't you weak to Flutter Mane, Shadow Ball? You can actually live that, and I'll show you a quick EV spread, but I'll get to that towards the later part of the video when we do a little bit of team building. But what I want to do is just show you some tournament teams, some regional teams that have utilized Screamtail to success and have gotten good results. So this way you get some ideas and a little bit of inspiration on what you could potentially do with Screamtail as a team. All right, so let's take a look at those squads. Okay, so let's look at this team first. This is from Fort Wayne. So this is Jimmy's team, Jimmy Friedel. So basically Jimmy is saying we have Play Rough as our lone attack move and 3 support moves, which is what you're going to see on a lot of these Screamtails. So Thunder Wave for speed control, disable, again, removing that one move that can really hurt you, and then Encore, of course, just to, pin your opponent and, force them to switch out intentionally, right? So then you also see Dragonite Chenpao. So like I said, here's Sword of Ruin, coupled with Dragonite, also really hurts. Now you add the fact, oh wait, no, this doesn't get Howl. But either way, still the same concept here with speed control over here. I really thought this got Howl for a second. Here's the Annihilate with the Amoonguss combination here. So bulk up's really nice. Okay, and then of course you partner that with Chenpao, and then all of a sudden you're doing a bunch of damage. But basically speed control here with your Screamtail with Thunder Wave, and then at the same time, again, like we said, it's just a disabler or an enabler for your partner, right? Terra Grass is really good, so this way you can get around the Amoonguss stuff. So really nice there. Then if we go into Benjamin Jones' team, so again, Dragonite Chenpao here. Here's the Howl concept. This is what this team should have, okay? But now we go over here. So here's Howl, Play Off Disable Thunder Wave. That's the set. That's the set I like, and it's Terra Steel, so now you can resist the Flutter Mane stuff. And then you enable your Dragonite, you enable your Chenpao even more if you can, get off a timely Howl, and also yourself, right? Because you're a physical attacker, I would imagine. And then the Palafin also very much enjoys the Howl support. So now all of a sudden +1 jet punches are going to hurt. And then even if they intimidate you, now you can kind of neutralize it by just going for Howl. So this way the intimidate is gone, and then now the Arcanine or Gyarados is in an interesting position, right? Volcarona is really good here. I like it a lot. I mean, Quiver Dance, Fire Dance, Giga Drain stuff is really good. Again, Amoonguss Volcarona is one of my favorite combinations. We use that a lot in Regulation A. Terra Water is really good here. You can also consider Terra Grass as another option. But once Volcarona gets set up with a Quiver Dance, unless you haze it, it's going to be relatively hard to remove. So you just have to position it properly, and it's going to do a lot of work for you. But this is one kind of team that you can definitely use Screamtail on. It's hard to imagine, right? Because a lot of these teams, when they have Screamtail, they don't really have Flutter Mane on their team. And, you might say, well, that should have been a Flutter Mane. It could have been, but in this case, it was not. All right. So then we go into the European International Championships, and this is a team from Colin, who we featured a little bit earlier because we talked about Rotom here. But once again, Screamtail is on another team with Dragonite Chenpao. So again, if you haven't guessed, if you want a duo partnered with Screamtail, you have a Dragonite and a Chenpao. So basically, and also the Tinglu for that matter, you can Howl, you enable all 3 of these guys. So now all of a sudden Tinglu can potentially hit like a truck with Earthquake, Payback, and Heavy Slam. These are all, physical offensive moves. They'll Dango here with Trick. Can save you in a lot of scenarios. And then, of course, you have the Rotom over here, which is really nice. So Screamtail has some good variability here. I like it a lot. Speed Control Thunder Wave is really nice. All right. Then we go into Juanma's team over here, still in the European International Championship. And this is another way where you can use Screamtail in the sense that it has Perish Song along with the Gothitelle stuff with Arcanine Palafin. And now you don't really have Howl anymore because you're going for the Perish stuff. So you still go with Play Rough, and you still go with Disable here, and then Protect in the last side. Still a very good set. And then you still also have Perish on the Flutter Mane here, so that's also interesting there. But again, if you want to play this route, you can definitely do it too. This is a bulkier screamtail, meant to, again, just do a bunch of damage. Not a bunch of damage, meant to support because you have Disable over here, and of course the Parasong gimmick as well. All right. And then if we go into a more recent online tournament over here, we just had this today, the Mouse Tour Weekly. And then Screamtail is also seen here from Simon the Sniper. And this is also a really good team, similar to the first team in the sense that there was a Dragonite, Chanpao, and a Azumarill, just like what Jimmy had over here. But this is a little bit more modern. If we take a look at what Jimmy was doing over here, I'm sorry, Simon was doing over here. There is no Amoonguss, but there is a Chiyu Goldengo. So now you have the special combination route here. But again, the Screamtail here is Howl. Okay, it's Player F and it's Thunder Wave, so speed control there as well, but it's also fake tears, and this is really, really devastating, all right, because now if you're faster than your special attackers, like we mentioned, aka the Chiyu and Goldengo are much slower, now all of a sudden Chiyu is going to start hitting like a truck, and now even the Goldengo will also hit like a truck. They both hit like trucks already, but now they're hitting like airplanes. All right, so then, and you already know what you're getting with the Azumarill, Dragonite, Chanpao. You're just enabling these, you know, physical attackers with priority with the health support. So I really like this team from Simon the Sniper. Makes a lot of sense. You know, so shout outs to them for coming up with a cool squad. And again, you still have the balance here, right? You still have a Dragon type. You still have the Fairy Steel type. Okay, wait, is there a Steel type here? Oh, actually, no, there isn't. But you do have Fire, Water, Grass. Okay, so Dragon, Fairy Steel with Dragonite, Azumarill, and Goldengo. There it is, actually. And then the Fire, Water, Grass with Chiyu in itself with a Grass type, and the Water with the Azumarill / Goldengo here. So you still have this balance score. Really, really cool team from Simon the Sniper. So shout outs to them. But again, I showed you a couple good ideas from some of these teams, but now we're going to take a different approach. So now we're going to head back into the team builder. We're going to attempt to build our own Screamtail team. So this way you get another kind of option where you can consider using it. And then hopefully you get some ideas from this video, from the teams that we showed you, and also my team that can also give you a starting point where to use Screamtail. All right, so let's build the team. Okay, so basically you've seen so far we're featuring Dragonite, Chanpao. I'm not going to really do that. Just because there's already 4 or 5 teams where you can just literally copy and then just go from there. I'm gonna change it up a little bit, and we're gonna still go with the Dragon type here, but I'm gonna go with something like this. I'm gonna go with Garchomp here, okay, and I'm still gonna go with Gyarados, okay. And the idea with Garchomp, Gyarados, of course, there's some good synergy with these two. You're able to Earthquake next to your Gyarados, of course, and then the Gyarados provides a Flying type here, which is really good into Tinglu stuff. So this way you can't get fissured. You know, it's a nice little pivot into Stomping Tantrum, depending on some of your options that are weaker to the ground move. But also you get Intimidate on your team, for that matter. All right. Then from here, I do like the Chiyu here. I feel like Chiyu and Amoonguss is also a nice way to round out your Fire, Water, Grass core, and allows you to play into Trick Room, which, by the way, this Screamtail is in fact going to have Trick Room. All right. So there's our Trick Room Abuser, one of them at the very least. And also you're going to get a little bit of support for your Chiyu, because this is going to be a nasty plot Chiyu, okay. And then finally in the last slot, we are going to have the Iron Hands, okay. And I really like Iron Hands on some Garchomp teams like this, and just this team in general, right? Because look at the tools that we're going to have. We're obviously going to have Trick Room here. You're going to have Thunder Wave here, okay. So you have some speed control options, all right. And wait, I also saw that this thing get Icy. No, it doesn't get Icy Wind. All right, and then you get Intimidate from the Gyarados, you get Redirection from the Amoonguss, you get Fake Out from the Iron Hands. So you have some, VGC tools for that matter. Okay. And then you have Status with the Amoonguss. So that's also really nice. And then you have a couple, and then you have a good balance of like physical hitters, and then you have your lone special hitter, but it's still okay. All right. So then how are we going to, build this team from the moves and, the movesets and then the Terra options? So we're still going to have one attacking option with Play Rough over here. And you can imagine with, this many physical hitters, we are going to have Howl. Okay. And then I am going to put Protect here. And you might say, well, where's the Thunder Wave? Well, the Thunder Wave is actually going to be over here. I don't need 2 Pokemon with Thunder Wave. I think that's a little bit overkill. All right, booster energy here, and the idea with this, and I'll round out the EV spreads later for the rest of the teams, but the idea with This is also just to pretty much outspeed the rest of the format for that matter. But also, in terms of our EVs, we want to be faster than Garchomp at the very least. And 170 is going to be able to do that. Wait, sorry. Not like that. This is going to be a Jolly set. Let's go to, right here, 188, okay? So this is going to outspeed our Garchomp. So this way our Howl is going to go first. And then our Garchomp is going to hit really hard with, not necessarily an Earthquake, but it's going to hit hard with Dragon, Claws, and Stomping Tantrums. Okay, and you can even also potentially switch it out next turn and then go into Gyarados and go for those hard-hitting +2 Earthquakes, alright, for that matter. Alright, and then technically you can also do like Terra Flying on the Screamtail if you really need to, but I don't think that necessary. I feel like Terra Steel is pretty good, just for, the removal of the Shadow Ball Flutter Mane weakness, which I'll show you in a second in terms of how we want to EV, but it will be a Terra Steel option over here. Alright, the Garchomp itself will be Terra Fire, and the idea with Terra Fire is it helps you a little bit more into the Chi-Yu Flutter Mane matchups, and with the Clear Amulet, this will help deter some of those Arcanines, maybe force them to switch out, and the Gyarados also won't have too much of an effect with their Intimidate support. But yeah, we round out the Screamtail and the Garchomp. So Gyarados over here, I like a Citrus Berry recovery on this thing. You can technically put this on the Amoonguss. I do like Rocky Helmet at the moment though, just because it does give you a little bit more chip damage, and then it's able to break Focus Sash from like a Chien-Pao, for example. It's also able to break Multi-Scale on a Dragonite, so that's also pretty useful. But with Gyarados here, it's going to be Waterfall. It is going to be Taunt, because an opposing Amoonguss is annoying, and we can have Helping Hand here, and this will be also another Terra Steel option, right? Because why not? Helping Hand, really good with Garchomp. You can Earthquake for a lot of damage. Helping Hand with Chi-Yu, you can do Heat Wave or a certain Dark Pulse for a lot of damage, which we are going to have over here. Okay, and you can even also do like Iron Hands Gyarados, just have more big hitting damage, thanks to Helping Hand. Really, really good support Pokemon here with the Gyarados. All right, and then from there, also don't forget, you can also Howl your own Gyarados. So now all of a sudden, Gyarados, even though we're not going to have that much attack, it's going to hit hard right after a certain Howl. So Waterfall is still going to be, chipping like a good amount. So you don't want to underestimate the Howl boost. All right, this is going to be Safety Goggles here. This is what's going to let us get around the Amoonguss. We're going to have Protect in the last slot over here. And Amoonguss, a relatively standard set with Rage Powder, Spore, Pollen Puff. And I still like Clear Smog here just because we don't have any Haze. And I still want to be able to respect on those just a little bit. Terra Water is relatively fine here, just to help against, other Chi-Yus and other Arcanine Flare Blitzes for that matter. All right, Terra Dark. So there's a couple of things you can do. You can do like Terra Ghost here, where to dodge the fighting weakness. You can also go Terra Water here, where you're able to resist the Palafin stuff, and the Safety Goggles gets you around the Amoonguss, so you can also definitely do that as an option. And then over here, Terra Grass on your Iron Hands, because again, the Amoonguss is annoying, but we are going to go Assault Vest here, Fake Out, Wild Charge, Drain Punch, and then our tech move here is going to be Heavy Slam. This is what's going to be able to pin those Flutter Mane slots and one-shot them, should we have to go for it, right? But this is it, okay? We still have our Dragon, Fairy, Steel, Fire, Water, Grass core. We have a lot of tools on the team, and, this is another way to try and build a Screamtail team. How's going to benefit Gyarados, Garchomp, and Iron Hands. The Trick Room is going to enable the Amoonguss and the Iron Hands as well, and then you still have, some chip damage that you can do with your own play-off after your own Howl. So, lots of good use for Screamtail here. Gyarados meant to support also, with Taunt, Thunder Wave, and Helping Hand stuff. And your big damage dealers are Garchomp, Chi-Yu, and Iron Hands, right? So you have enough tools with what you want here. So now let's do the EV spreads, and then just showcase it in maybe just one quick battle. Okay, so let's go back here to Screamtail here. So we decided our speech here. We're going to make it faster than our own Garchomp, but really all we want is just to max out this HP like this, all right? And then from there, if you do a little bit of a damage calc here, the Screamtail actually can survive a Choice Specs Modest 116 Shadow Ball, and I have that damage calc right here. So if you have just 4 investment, 252, 4, you are able to survive that Choice Specs Modest 116 Flutter Mane Shadow Ball. So if you want to get the guaranteed, then you just bump it up to 12 like this, and that's really all you need. Now over here you just have 4, these are just like bulk EVs, so you can just put them here like this, and that's your Screamtail set. All right, a bulky Screamtail. The Garchomp here, you know, again, because we don't have Swords Dance, we don't have Life Orb, there's really nothing else you really need to do except just go 253, 252 with this Chomp here. The Gyarados here, so what you can do is EV the Gyarados where you're a careful nature, and then, you know, force the Flutter Mane Moonblast into a 3-hit KO rather than a 2-hit KO. So what does that calc look like? So we're going to go careful here rather than Impish. The whole idea with Impish is if you intimidate a Dragonite that's multi-scale, and if it's, you know, Choice Band, you can live a Thunder Punch with a certain amount of investment with your HP and your, you know, defense. But if you choose the careful route, then you can also better survive against Flutter Mane stuff and just be able to chip it down with like Waterfall, right? So how we're gonna do this? So we can just go basically max HP like this, nice even number for your berry, and then 156 is the bump here in the Spadef, and then you just need about right this much. Okay, I want to say this much is pretty good. So about 44 speed. This is what's gonna let you outspeed, you know, potential iron bundles after a Thunder Wave, for example. More than that, but yeah, I just wanted to get a little bit more speed on the Gyarados and outspeed some other Gyaradoses that are like either 28 or 36 speed. So a couple reasons there for the 44 investment. Just need 1 point in the attack, and then the rest just goes into defense like this. All right, the Chi-Yu here, we're gonna be a little bit more bulkier. We're still gonna go max speed here. All right, and then just, you know, have 1 point in our bulk like this, just a little bit in terms of like what we wanted to do. I think we just went with this much, 148, you know, 174 over here. Technically you can even do this and then just go like 84 in HP, and I think that's okay, right? In terms of what we want our Chi-Yu to do with the nasty plot stuff. So, you know, but I don't really have like a damage calc here. I just wanted to get a little bit of bulk here and just, you know, invest. All right, the Amoonguss here. So with the optimization for Regenerated, I go to 219. Does a couple things. One, it'll put you out of range of the Final Gambit Annihilate stuff. And two, it optimizes Regenerator because it'll make it so that a third of your max HP will be a perfect number. And in this sense, 73 HP recovery is what you want. And then from there, Relaxed Nature is really good for your defensive nature. This allows you to take some of those physical hits better, like a Flare Blitz Arcanine, or, you know, Roaring Moon Acrobatics that isn't adamant. And what else is there that hits relatively hard? Okay. Oh, even Chien-Pao Ice Spinner you can survive. So that's also a good reason to run Relaxed Nature here. And then the Iron Hands. So I feel like either way, no matter what you do with your Iron Hands, you're always maxing this. You know, and it's already an even number, so that's really good. You want to get the most out of this special defense with this Assault Vest, right? You really want to be bulky here. You can also technically just go like 156 investment like this, and just rely on the fact that you're going to have Howl Boost. 1 point in defense, that's really all you need. A little bit of speed, maybe just like this much, or maybe even like this much, and then the rest can just go into HP like this, right? And that's really all you need from your Iron Hands, just to be like relatively bulky and, you know, deal some damage, you know, with this whopping attack stat, right? If you really don't want this much HP, then you can just do this, where you have 80 investment, and then this will get you to the third EV bump in the attack nature. Again, if you don't know what EV bumps are and you're trying to play competitive Pokemon, you got to make sure you comment in the video description and ask what are EV bumps, because they are very important to understand in knowing how to play this game, right? And I show it in every single video, but if this is like your first time here, if you don't know what they are, feel free to comment in the description and I will answer the question for you. What are EV bumps? All right. But again, if you want to have a little bit more HP, which we are going to do, I'm just going to do this. Just put a little bit more in the defensive bulk, and then this is already good. 239 investment. I'm sorry, 239 as a stat. Okay, so we've got the team here, I believe, right? So this is what it looks like. Again, you can see that we're relatively bulky and what we're trying to do. You can almost just say like, yo, man, this should just be a Flutter Mane. Right? Hey, but we're trying to use Screamtail. We're trying to enable it. Okay, it has its use here. All right, so let's do like a quick battle here and get you guys out of here, and, you know, let's see what happens. Oh wait, I forgot to reveal the GIFs. Hold on, Garchomp, Chi-Yu, Amoonguss, Amoonguss, and then Gyarados, and then finally the last one here is the Iron Hands. All right, let's do it. Okay, so this one is against one of those hyper offensive Sun teams with a Tinglu rather than a Chien-Pao, which is very interesting. I don't know why you would want to make, your, you know, Torkoal and your Flutter Mane weaker, but I guess there is some synergy here where you can Earthquake next to Dragonite, but I don't know. I feel like a Chien-Pao is just always better in that slot. So I feel like just setting up Trick Room here and then just, you know, enabling the Iron Hands would do the trick here, because Iron Hands actually just goes pretty good into this matchup. I know he has a Flutter Mane here, but again, we have a Terra option there. But other than that, we have Terra Grass for also, you know, being able to resist the Great Tusk there. We can overpower it. Drain Punch does a lot into, you know, Dragonite and slash Tinglu over here. I know he has, you know, Terra Flying, but again, that just means, you know, we just Wild Charge it and then it dies. And then everything else, yeah, we can just beat it because we have an Assault Vest. So then from there, it's just all about bringing the Gyarados and just intimidating his 3 physical attackers. And then, you know, with Gyarados being a water type, you're also able to resist the Torkoal stuff. We're pretty good against the Flutter Mane in that sense as well, because, you know, we have a Berry. And again, we're looking pretty good. Screamtail actually can do something here. So we're going to go ahead and see what he decides to do. So here's the Screamtail, here's the Iron Hands. There's a Tinglu and there's a Dragonite there. So this might be like some Earthquake shenanigans. I'm not quite sure what he's trying to do here, but I just want to get up Trick Room here and let my Iron Hands go ham. Yes, I understand that's going to make his Tinglu faster, but, you know, do I really care? Not really. So I rather just have my Iron Hands outspeed everything he has. Now, does he have a Torkoal? Maybe. Okay, I can technically see him bringing Torkoal in here, but I don't know if that's ideal for him, right? Especially with the Tinglu here, where you're weakening your own Torkoal's damage. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and click Fake Out on the Tinglu. I don't know what this Dragonite is, so I don't want to fake out an Inner Focus Pokemon, so I just want to set up the Trick Room here. He goes for Tailwind, and there is my Trick Room, which is actually really nice, because now Iron Hands is just going to go ham, which is pretty good for me in that sense. All right, so I get some chip damage from the Dragonite next turn. He goes for Heavy Slam. I'm going to live it because Tinglu doesn't do that much damage physically, and, you know, Screamtail is very bulky. And now I go for the Howl, so my Iron Hands is going to do a lot of damage. He goes into his Great Tusk here, maybe reading another Wild Charge, but I'm not going to play into that. I do go for a Drain Punch, and I'm able to punch him and, you know, deal some really, really good damage. And now also, he does go for the Heavy Slam, rereading to the Protect, so he does forfeit there. But we are in a really, really good spot, because what I would have done next turn against this kind of position is just switch out the Screamtail into the Gyarados and just go into Terra Grass, Iron Hand. So this way you're you're kind of chilling against these 2 ground types, and they're both intimidated. And then you still have one more turn of Trick Room left, and then you can deal some pretty big damage from there. And even if his last was Flutter Mane, again, you know, we have the Gyarados there that, you know, you can just slow it down with Thunder Wave stuff, and then the Iron Hands with the Assault Vest we're able, and also, you know, with Terra Grass we're not able to get one shot by the Flutter Mane. So I felt like we were just in a really, really good position overall. But let's take a look at another one. Believe it or not, this one was another one that was relatively easy. So just look at what he has here. You know, he's got the Tailwind stuff with the Iron Jugulus. Of course, it is Flying type, so our Garchomp looks interesting there against that. But Flutter Mane, Amoonguss, Arcanine, Palafin, all relatively standard. Guess what I'm going to lead? I'm going to pretty much lead more or less the same idea. So there's the Screamtail, and here is my Iron Hands once again. I'm going to deny him of the Tailwind and try and set up my Trick Room potentially. So he goes into the Amoonguss. Good play by him. All right, so now the Amoonguss is going to do okay in the Trick Room matchup. Okay, but again, I have a Terra Grass, Iron Hands. I don't really care if you put the Screamtail to sleep. It wasn't really doing damage anyway. So basically, I'm just going to go into my grass here. He goes for Spore. I'm going to Wild Charge the Jugulus. I'm going to kill the Jugulus, and then I get a nice little Howl boost, which is really, really nice. And then, of course, here's the Palafin, which, again, we can get past the Amoonguss Redirection Rage Powder because we are a grass type. And this Palafin, all he can really do is stall for a turn with Protect, but how does he beat me? I'm a grass type. And then I have super effective electric damage. And I don't care if you have a Flutter Mane in the back. Whatever I have is definitely going to beat with whatever you have. The Amoonguss cannot touch me. He does have Pollen Puff, but if I'm going for these Howl boosts, I'm just going to overpower the Amoonguss eventually in the long run. So, of course, you can only click one button and one button only, and that is the forfeit button. Screamtail, taking lives, taking names, ladies and gentlemen. All right, folks, so one more time, here is the pace for the team. And again, we're going to put the pace in the video description below. But again, you have a lot of combinations with the Howl stuff along with the Iron Hands. And we only showed those two in those 2 quick games. But you have a lot of stuff with, you know, Garchomp, Screamtail potentially. You can even do switch out into Gyarados, click Earthquake. The Chiyu is also really nice with the Amoonguss. For that matter, you have a lot of different ways to play this team. But again, I gave you some ideas with some of the regional stuff. and now you have another one from us right here, right now. But again, if this is something you're interested in, if you want to do team building with me on the channel, well, not necessarily on the channel, but if you want to do team building with me to prep for a tournament, prep a team for ladder play, or prep for an upcoming regional, which we've done a ton of these last couple months, check out coaching on the channel. If it is a tier 3 sub, if you take a look at the video description or in the comment section, we have a link there to join the channel with that tier 3 sub. And then once you do join, you're able to message me on Discord, and then we can coordinate a one-on-one Discord call and get you that team that you need to be able to compete. All right, but that's gonna do it for now, folks. Hopefully you like Screamtail. Let me know what you think in the comment section. We'll be back with another one in the next video, guys. Peace out and have a good night.